Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here, the lab coat's on back order, and this is normally the point in the week where I'll be presenting to you another Pokemon X live Wi-Fi battle. However, I actually will not be able to do that this week for a couple of reasons. First of all, I haven't been able to consistently find opponents on BattleSpot for the past couple of weeks. If you've been following me on Twitter, you'll know I've been mentioning that I just don't seem to be able to find opponents. Like, I'll search for a half hour, maybe find somebody, and then perhaps partway through that battle we get a disconnection. So, I was talking to a friend of mine by the name of Clay, and he said maybe what's going on is most competitive people online have switched over to Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And I thought that might be the case as well. The reason I hadn't switched yet is because I'm really interested in getting ribbons for my Pokemon to sort of decorate all the lands they've come from over the ages. And I didn't want to leave Pokemon X until I had all the ribbons I could get. But I looked into it. The only ribbons left for me to obtain in Pokemon X are obtainable in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So, I've taken the plunge. I do have Omega Ruby now. Problem is, it's going to take a while to get my guys to the point where I can get the items they need to be able to battle, because when you send your Pokemon from Pokemon X into Pokemon Bank, the online depository for all of your thousands of Pokemon, you actually can't send your items. And my guys on the online battles, if you've been seeing the past few weeks, they have specific held items, like, for example, Machamp with a Muscle Band, my Roserade who holds the Black Sludge. I can't actually get those items in here yet. I could do some trading with another 3DS, trade Pokemon over, grab the item, trade it back. It's going to be a lot of hassle. It's going to take me a while to do that, and I will eventually get to that point. Until then, though, however, I decided I can just try some battles in the online rating battles in Omega Ruby. Now, the problem I found out about this is in X and Y, you're allowed to use Pokemon from older games that have been sent through the Poke Transporter in the rating battles. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, you actually can't. You can only use Pokemon that have been obtained in the 6th generation, either by breeding or catching or given out as a special event, which means all the work I put into all my Pokemon over all the ages, they can't go into the online rating battles here. But they can go into free battles, so I decided just to test that out and see, will I be able to get my guys into at least some online battles. And I can. And as it turned out, my first opponent was a Rayquaza who went Mega, and after one Dragon Ascent and then a Dragon Pulse follow-up, knocked out my Musharna. However, Musharna put it to sleep with the Yawn. Machamp came in and Ice Punched it, took it down one shot. Then they disconnected. So that was kind of fun. So, seeing that, I thought I might, I won't be able to sort of increase my rating with the online battling unless I use just the Gen 6 guys, but I still stand a chance at least. The fact that Machamp took down a Mega Legendary in one hit, I thought, okay, that shows some promise. So, eventually I'm going to get to the point of having some of these free battles online with my older Pokemon. I'm also going to open up the idea to some of you viewers, if you want to sort of get involved in some battles with me so we can set up, specific rules. What I'd like to do is try to follow the Pokemon Play style of things, or Play Pokemon style, where it's a double battle. You have a team of 6, choose 4 to go in, just to sort of keep things consistent with how the official Pokemon championships, like the World Championships, how they do their thing. So, I'm still not going to be ready for any of those battles just yet. Like I said, I need time to get the items and stuff and send all the guys over. I'm also going through this in sort of like a Nuzlocke style. Now, I'm not interested in, if a Pokemon faints, you release it, especially with these guys that I've been building over the years. But what I am doing is I'm saying for each route I'm catching just the first encounter, and then I'm swapping it over to X in place of one of my main guys. And to make it a little bit more challenged, since they're level 100, I'm not going to heal them at Pokemon Centers or use items or anything. If they lose their HP, I'm going to box them in place of one of my other guys. As it turns out, that proves to be quite a challenge when none of your Pokemon will obey you, and quite often they knock themselves out in confusion because they're disobeying. And what doesn't make any sense, they still maintain their full friendship with you that I've built up in Pokemon-Amie. So, my Musharna so many times ignored what I said, use Signal Beam. She falls asleep instead. At the end of the turn, she shakes herself awake so I won't worry. What are you doing? Anyway, all that being said, I don't have a live video to present to you this week, but what I am going to do is show you a battle that I recorded with the Versus Recorder in X a while ago. So I've said in the past, I'm not really that focused on you know, battles that you're constantly switching Pokemon, like half the turns are just one person swapping out. I decided to get into a battle online and try it out and just see, you know, I understand the strategy of swapping. Let's say you have a, let's say, Squirtle on the field, and your opponent has an electric type. I realize there is some good logic in swapping that Squirtle out for a Pokemon with Lightning Rod, like, say, my Manectric, so you can, you know, gain a boost from that. And I thought, I'm going to try some of this. I'm also going to try what is pretty risky, but it pays off sometimes, predicting the opponent's moves, trying to figure out what possibilities do they have to use against me, what can I plan for, and how can I go against that. So, with those things in mind, I decided to try this out in an online double battle that I had. So this isn't exactly a live recording, so the title is a bit of a mislead, but hopefully it's not that big of a problem. This is still a pretty impressive battle, and I'm quite pleased with it. No spoilers of who won, but you might be able to guess. But I'm going to show that battle, and I'll do post-game commentary for this one. So let's check that out. So this will be the battle I had a while back on the Battle Spot, Rating Battle Doubles. My opponent was Seer, and you can see he had a pretty impressive team. Azumarill, Charizard, Scizor, and Sableye. So I was bringing my Gyarados, Blastoise, Aegislash, and Roserade. That's Gary, Sheldon, Caliburn, and Axl. Now for this video too, just in case you haven't noticed, I'm actually trying something a little different with recording the audio. The video is still just, you know, camera phone video, but I can actually record the audio directly to the computer, so hopefully this at least sounds a little better than it looks. So with that said, let's do this battle and check it out. So the battle started out, I wasn't sure what to expect out of my opponent because I forget who else was on the team. But I start with 2 water types, which could have been risky, but I don't think he had an electric type to worry about. So we see he starts with Sableye and Shiny Scizor. So our Gyarados gets the Intimidate drop-off on both of these opponents. More than likely that Scizor has, well, okay, I switched out here. I'm going to try and tell you my predictions as they happen. I expected a Fake Out on my Gyarados, so I thought I'm going to switch into a Ghost type and make that just completely pointless, as the opponent switches to Azumarill. A shiny Azumarill, I might add. So, as I predicted, Fake Out tries to target down Aegislash, but we are immune to normal type. And I tried to go for a Scald Burn on the Scizor, but sadly, I did not get it, and a Water type came in to take it. So we do get burned, and this Sableye has the Prankster ability, which says all non-direct attack moves will go first. We're still trying to get a burn on that Azumarill, because I know how strong these things can be. For example. And knowing we had some physical things to worry about, I decided to go for Reflect, to try and boost our physical defense. Now, we want to swap out Aegislash so we can get that burn healed. We're going to send in Axl the Roserade with the Aromatherapy. We're still trying to get a Scald off with this, or a burn with a Scald, I should say. Speaking of burns, this Sableye is just going to try and burn the entire field, but thankfully we are holding a Lumberry on Blastoise. So we're still trying to get a burn on the other side. We've had 2 on our side so far. Not very effective. Critical hit. Still no burn. Here comes another player up. The Reflect is going to keep us in play, at least for one more turn. Now they're going to swap out, and I had a feeling they were going to. What I'm going to go for here is the Aromatherapy, because I expect we're going to see another Will-O-Wisp, which we do right now. It does connect. Pretty good accuracy on that Sableye. I wonder if it's holding a wide lens. So Aromatherapy will heal the burn from my Blastoise as well as my Aegislash, who's now waiting in reserve. And we go for another Scald, which is now boosted thanks to the Torrent ability. No burn, but I expect a Bullet Punch to come from the Scizor. I'm going to send in Gyarados, who will not only lower the attack stat of the opponent, he is also resistant to Steel-type moves. So let's see if the prediction paid off. Out goes the Sableye. In comes Charizard. I almost said Gyarados. So Bullet Punch indeed does come in and connect. Minimal damage. We took that easily. Now I expected they were going to swap out the Sableye, so I decided to target down that slot. Nope. I don't even know what my predictions were. Alright, so we do get a Shadow Ball off on Scizor. Seeing Gyarados come in, Charizard swapped right back out. I had a feeling they were going to do that, so I decided to go for a Dragon Dance on my Gyarados, trying to get the speed and attack stat up. We see here my opponent does a double swap. Double switch. Double swap. Almost said double switch. Corey Haim on the brain. So Dragon Dance does go off, and we went for a Toxic attack, I believe, next. Because, as I mentioned in a previous video, Axl's strategy is to get Poison off with Toxic or his Poison Point ability, then start using Venom Drench to lower the attack, special attack, and speed of any poisoned opponents. Our Reflect did just drop there, however, so we do have a bit of a worry spot with this Azumarill. I wanted to send in something resistant to a possible Play Rough attack. We do avoid the Will-O-Wisp this time, and a Toxic has connected with Sableye as well, so both opponents are now poisoned. Here comes a player up against my Steel type. With good defenses, we do take that. Now that we have Poison off on these two Pokemon, slowly we're going to whittle away at them. But we want to sort of minimize the damage we're going to be taking. And a Taunt comes in on the Aegislash, meaning I can't use Reflect. Can't use King Shield either. I can only use my two offensive moves, which are Sacred Sword and Shadow Claw. So we do manage to connect with that Venom Drench, lowering the opposing Pokemon's 3 stats here, which is good. It's going to slightly weaken that player off. Now that must have been a misplay on my opponent because they went for Superpower against a Ghost type. Maybe they just weren't aware Aegislash was a Ghost type, although they should have known when the Fake Out didn't connect. Either way, we lost a turn as well when we couldn't use Reflect thanks to the Taunt from Sableye. Now I expected Azumarill was going to swap out at this point, and I decided let's target down whatever's coming in. In comes the Charizard. Now, I expected Taunt as well, so I knew not to go for another Venom Drench. We're just going to go all-out offensive on this new Charizard that's come into battle. Shadow Ball does connect, lower the special defense, and let's go into offense mode with Caliburn. Go for a nice, powerful stab Shadow Claw. Not quite enough to bring it down, and if this Charizard has the Blaze ability, we just powered up its Fire move. And we have two Pokemon on the field weak to fire. I'm going to swap out at this point. Question is, who do I swap where? So I'm sending in 2 water types. I had a feeling they were going to try to target the Aegislash, so I'm sending my weakened Blastoise in place of Roserade, and my Gyarados at almost full HP is going to take the Aegislash slot. We are going to lower the attack stat again thanks to the Intimidate. This is where it is good to do some regular swapping in battles because, as you're seeing, I am constantly getting attack drops on the opponent thanks to Intimidate. Sableye swaps out for Scizor once again, and here's where things get crazy. Charizard Mega evolves into Mega Charizard X. So this could be a force to be reckoned with the new Tough Claws ability. It goes for a physical connecting Flare Blitz against Gyarados, as I expected he was going to target that slot. Not very effective, and the recoil takes down Mega Charizard X. Okay, one threat is down. And in comes the Sableye once again. Still poisoned, of course. Now, I'm expecting another Bullet Punch, so I'm going to try to preserve my Blastoise and send in a full HP Roserade. Fake Out will connect with Gyarados, which I expected was going to happen. Maybe I forgot that, and I was just trying to attack. But Bullet Punch goes and connects, and whoa! 5 HP left. And the Life Orb that Scizor is holding recoils itself into unconsciousness. So, my opponent has lost 2 Pokemon. I've just about lost 2 Pokemon. Both Roserade and Blastoise are low HP. They're not going to, last much longer. But we're still at 4-2 right now. And both of the opponent's Pokemon are poisoned, so with the Toxic Poison, which will increase in damage each turn, we are in a pretty good spot right now to possibly take this game. I want to swap out Gyarados once again so I can bring it in again to get another Intimidate drop. And I think this is where I messed up. I wasn't expecting the taunt. Yes, I went for a Venom Drench. Was not at all expecting that. And the player off does bring down the first of my 4 Pokemon. Sorry, Sheldon, but you did awesome. Axl heals up a little bit, as does the Sableye holding leftovers. Fortunately, with poison increasing in every turn, the leftovers is not going to make that much of a difference in the long run. All we have to do is hold out until the opponent drains down from the poison affecting them. So I'm going to send in Gyarados once again, basically just for the Intimidate drop. We want to try to weaken that Azumarill. Clearly the Sableye doesn't have any physical attacks, or they might have used it by now. So all they have to do is try to taunt us and Will-O-Wisp. So I'm going to try to preserve as many Pokemon as I can. I had a feeling Aqua Jet was going to connect, so I sent in someone more able to take it. And we have been burned, which is going to lower our attack. We're still going to try and do some damage with his Waterfall, though. We're targeting the Sableye because we know Azumarill is much closer to fainting on its own from the Toxic anyway, since it's not holding leftovers, and it's already at a lower HP. So I want to swap out the Gyarados once more, just for the possibility of another Intimidate drop. And if we're lucky, if our Roserade can come in and take this hit, whatever comes at it, we can use Aromatherapy. Unless that Sableye taunts us again. That's a possibility. Now, I knew taunt was a thing, so I decided let's just go for a King Shield right now to try and stall out some turns and get some additional poison damage off. And here we see Aqua Jet is enough to bring down my Roserade. Bye, Axl. You did so much in this battle, though. Now, in addition to leftovers, we see our Sableye opponent has the Recover attack. So it's going to heal back 50% of its max HP. Leftovers is going to heal a little bit more. This could turn into a battle of, you know, really coming down to the wire, the opponent draining up from poison, but if that Sableye can keep itself in battle, and if it can burn both of my Pokemon, it could possibly stall us out. So this is coming down to a bit of a nail-biter here. We're both down to just 2 Pokemon on either side. So knowing that Taunt is an issue, we're not going to even bother trying to set up at this point. We're just going to go all-out offensive. That Azumarill will faint to the poison on this following turn, or at the end of this turn, I should say. So let's just launch everything we have against that Sableye. Starting with the Waterfall. Nope. Actually, we wanted to target that down first, I guess. Alright then. So I think because I wasn't expecting the Aqua Jet, I thought they were going to go for something more substantial. I decided, let's just get rid of that out of the way and try to bring down this Sableye. So now the opponent has lost the Azumarill. They are down to 1 final Pokemon. We're down to 2. We're both burned, but Sableye's poisoned. So there's not much telling what can happen here, but with that poison damage, it is almost a sure thing, especially since my Gyarados survives the burn. With 2 Pokemon attacking it, there's not too much this Sableye can do other than recover, and thanks to Prankster, recover will go first in the turn. So, that being said, let's go for a Waterfall, lower it as much as we can, hopefully a Shadow Claw can finish it up, which it does thanks to the critical hit. I don't know if it was necessary for critical, but I will take it if I can get it. That is the victory. Now I see the benefit of swapping in Pokemon, predicting the opponent. Okay, so that was that. I was really impressed with that battle. So, that being said, with future battles that I record, you might see a bit more of a sort of a strategy adjustment from what I've been doing. Like I had said before, I like the idea of my Pokemon being trained and taught moves to make it so they can stand up against whatever Pokemon they might face. However, I now see that's not always going to be the case. It's not just your Pokemon, what moves they know, and how you train their EVs for like super training. It's also about you as a trainer. You have to be part of this fight and decide when is the right time to make a clever play, like a swap, or maybe choosing an attack that's not very effective against a Pokemon, expecting they're going to swap in something it might be super effective against. Like when I targeted down that Charizard, Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw. Yeah, Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw almost took it out before it could even do anything. So, that's the battle, and I was quite happy with it. So the final mention I'm going to make for this video is, as of today, people are starting to show up for Pokemon World Championships in Boston, Massachusetts in the US, getting registered for this very weekend of all the battles coming up. Now, go over to Pokemon.com. They've got information on how you can follow like the live stream on Twitch TV, and just follow Pokemon on Twitter as well. You're going to see all sorts of highlights and information about everything going on over the weekend. Follow me as well on Twitter if you haven't already, because I'm going to be spending the majority of the weekend watching these live streams, tweeting about it, and I'm going to see if I can do some recap videos at the end of each night to sort of, give you my thoughts on how things happened. Alright, so this is a pretty exciting weekend coming up. The World Championships for Pokemon. You're going to see a lot of impressive battles, a lot of good trainers and battlers, and I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it too. Alright, with that, I gotta get out of here. Thanks for checking out this video, and I'll catch you next time.